go ahead and get started. We don't have a lot for soup and salad today. There are a couple of things that we might review just a little bit in preparation for tonight. But let's start with upcoming events. We'll do our retirements the same way we did last year at the lodge behind Jeremiah's, and because the space is limited, we'll have to separate the certified retirement and the classified. So they're on back-to-back weeks. May 5th is the certified employee from 5:30 to 7, and May 12th, the classified employee retirement. I thought that worked out really nice last year. So thanks to Pam for coordinating those things, but you and spouse, guest are invited to both of those. We have the Foundation Awards Banquet on May 17th. That's one that we've done for the last 10, 12 years anyway, where the foundation board and the school board are able to come together, and that one is at Union Grill in the basement. There's a nice space down in the basement of Union Grill if you haven't been there. So that's where we haven't done the Foundation Awards Banquet there. Often that's been at Timbermine. Yeah. Now we get to our graduations, and let's probably do a little bit of assignment here. And I hesitate without John, but the first one is life graduation. You're all invited to the life graduation, but there is no need for a speaker. We don't have a speaker there. That one, boy, that is a choice thing. Lori, any idea how many might be graduating? It's usually in that 20,
I bet it's around
20 range,
yeah.
Out of Canyon View School.
Graduation.
It is. It's pretty.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. May 23rd is our first day. It's on Monday, and we have 3 graduations that day. So let's start. Who is planning to attend Fremont's graduation at 9 o'clock? Dean, Paul, Bruce, Jan, Doug. And we're just going to need to check with, we'll check with John. So Dean, Paul, Doug, Bruce, Jan, and let's check with Paul. Who's speaking? Who's receiving the class? Dean, is that one yours? Dean receiving that class. Is that have a grandchild?
I do.
Dean?
Oh,
wonderful.
wow.
Granddaughter? Fantastic.
Neat.
Okay, then Weber
John
High.
is not coming to any of them.
He's not.
That might be correct. Let's verify that. But I think he's
gone.
he's got
out
the
of
governor's.
town.
The governor's got a.
I think that's what he told me.
You're right. He did.
Because I told him I wasn't going to have to life vest for a junior
Oh.
high.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to Weber High. Who's planning to attend?
Doug wants that one.
So everybody, all 6 here are planning to attend. And who's receiving?
I'd like to have a granddaughter.
Is that okay? Doug receiving the class.
On the Fremont also.
Okay.
Are you going to go to the Fremont?
I'm gonna try to
Okay.
do all of them.
Okay, great. And then Roy High School at 5 o'clock. Who's planning to attend that one? Everybody? And receiving the class? Jan. Okay. Then we go to Tuesday the 24th
I can't
again.
receive the class at Roy High. If they realized there, they would kick me out.
We did last year, or the last time we were state. They have my picture still hanging on the wall.
Yep.
Call 911 if you see this person.
In the post office or where?
At Roy High.
Okay, on the 24th, everybody going to Bonneville?
Sure, yeah.
Everybody at Bonneville, let's just put, I think Pam, let's just put.
Dean can't make it.
Dean's not. gonna
Okay,
be there
Dean's not at
tomorrow.
Bonneville. And then who's receiving that class?
I guess it's me, my
That
turn.
is Ken.
Doug? Now,
You don't wanna give a campaign speech because you're up for election or anything?
He's right there.
No,
Chicken in every pot, 40 acres and a mule.
I don't wanna bring any attention to that campaign whatsoever.
40 acres of renewal. Okay, so those first four are all at the D-Event Center. On the 24th at noon,
that's
Weber
here.
Innovation is at Weber State, but in the Shepherd Union Building.
I didn't.
Okay.
And who is receiving the class, who would like to receive the class at Weber Innovation?
I'm happy to do that.
That would be wonderful, Janice. Adult Ed is not an event. They wanted it outside. It's at the Marriott Slaterville City Office Park.
Oh, interesting.
So you're welcome to stop by. Remember, you've done that the last couple of years. They've done it in the parking lot. They want to do it similar.
Are they gonna do a virtual video thing or anything? Cause I've done that for them in the past. I think
Sure,
they are
they're
doing that.
outside.
Maybe not.
I don't know that they are,
Okay,
okay? If I hear differently,
then assign one of us to
yes,
it.
yeah.
And I can.
But I
can
think it's just,
Ask Andrew.
I think it's just a matter of if you'd like to show up, spend 15, 20, 30 minutes watching, some individuals come through, you're more than welcome. May 25th, Two Rivers High School, and this one's at a new location, the Monarch.
Oh, interesting.
The only concern there is parking. Hope that,
Well, it's
we'll
all
be able
toward
to.
the park, isn't
It
it?
is,
Yeah.
it is.
Wasn't that where the
Uber.
foundation had the awards last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
In that, yeah. Okay, who would like to receive the Two Rivers class?
I'm happy to do that.
Jan, wonderful. And that's graduation. Those are our graduations.
Are they doing youth build?
I don't have that date.
That's usually
I don't-
end of
Paul, do you
June,
have the date?
later on.
Well, I got surprised
Oh, yeah.
by that one year, so I don't
Yeah.
wanna get surprised by it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when they're
Um,
planning on doing
Just
that.
in case, somebody ought to do it.
Next Thursday, and then we'll probably.
Can you get that,
it'll
that
probably
date?
be
Yeah.
mentioned then.
Oh, you don't have one, so I think you should do
The youth build?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
We did
Well,
last year.
that,
I did it one.
yeah, and I think sometimes it's more under the direction of the tech college and not us
Right.
assigning.
'Cause I
So
know a
why don't
couple
you
years ago
find
when
out?
you were there,
But they did just say John Burrell will be accepting the class. And it was
But I think it's
totally-
coming from them to us rather than
Okay.
us
Okay.
assigning ourselves. So
Oh,
Paul.
I didn't
we'll
know I
figure it
was
out
gonna
when-
do it.
I can do it, that's not a problem.
Tell them to sign me.
And then June 13th is the Foundation Golf Tournament at the Country Club, and I think that's, I think we're already full. I think it's already
Wow.
36 teams that have signed up.
Good.
Yeah, so
Great.
that
Good.
one's great. Tonight, we'll start with the discussion on the naming of the school. I know that we had this discussion in San Diego about the process. Gina and Paul have been coordinating the last week or so. So Gina will make a presentation tonight that just kind of outlines the process that the committee has gone through, and it will end with a recommendation on the name, Westfield. But I think it leaves a little open-endedness on the mascot, and Paul, is that where the handoff is made to you?
I talked with John about that because there's been a little confusion, and I think what he's going to do is ask for a motion each way.
Okay.
And
So will Gina also process the board in her presentation, process the board through the mascot discussion?
Yes.
Okay. So
And
there'll be.
That's part, she has about, I think, 24 or 25 quick slides to go through.
Okay.
Paul, when you say a motion each way, what do you mean by
On the
She-
name?
She's gonna present two options. One is the
Longhorns.
Westfield Longhorns and one is the Westfield Ducks. I think is what, and so she'll do that, so John will ask for a motion on each of those and a vote.
So like,
Which way.
okay.
Now,
Because that's what the committee came up with.
Paul, at some point, are you going to take a little time? And where do you want to take time?
When John asked if there's any
Discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So you want first a motion and a second, and then discussion?
Yeah, or when it's closed and the vote's been made, I'll just say.
Well, let me just ask a question. Does that feel as authentic, for example, to say the motion and the second, and now you're gonna sort of justify why? Or would it be better to have your discussion,
Afterwards.
Before.
your discussion before?
I think so.
That maybe John says, board, is there any discussion
Yeah, we can
on
do
this
that.
item?
I think that would.
Then the motion, then the
I
second.
think that's
That
what we
would be more
discussed, that's what we
helpful.
discussed.
Oh, I think
Is that, so if, let's have Gina make a recommendation,
And
but
then
then
discussion.
John say, board, is there any discussion on this? And then Paul, and if anybody else wants to, then following that discussion, let's have a motion and a second.
Okay.
Who's gonna make the motion?
Oh, it is.
You'll make the motion. As you follow up then the discussion, you're gonna say, then I'd like to make the motion that we go this direction.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, I'll get John and we'll make that slight
Okay.
adjustment.
Do we know yet what the mascot's gonna be?
The Longhorns.
It is? Okay.
That was,
That's gonna be
well,
recommended.
can I take 1 minute? You guys have.
Sorry, and I'm not supposed to do it.
No. You guys have made some comments before. As we discussed this with the committees and things, there was a lot of people, parents, teachers, community people that says, the Ducks is good, but where's that gonna go? You know,
Oh, I can see that.
how easy can that be?
That's a really good point. This is
Might
why
be
you
to
make
where
the
it's
big bucks.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
It might be all day in college, but not in high school.
Yeah, and
that's a
so,
good point.
and so as a committee, as we discussed it and went through, we had hundreds of suggestions to start off with. We just felt like the Longhorns was comfortable and good and
Clean.
Safer.
I
easier,
trust you.
safer.
Yeah.
I was just like,
You
that
know,
duck is
and
so
that's
cute.
why.
Of course we.
Yeah, and that's why, and so
Less likely to be tainted.
less likely to be tainted.
Well, and in many ways, it's more representative of the
Yeah, it is more
lifestyle of that area than a duck is. I mean, if you think about,
Ducks are ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
yeah.
Also, so Paul, if you remember in the top four, the Longhorn hit twice.
Correct.
Two.
Oh,
So
it was so funny.
it had more of a groundswell than the Duck.
I know they're just passing through.
Just for what it's worth, my wife went to Bountiful High School. It's still the Braves for her anyway. So back in those days, Bountiful and Davis were the big rivals, and they hated Davis. They didn't call them the Davis Darks.
Oh.
They changed the D to an F.
Of course they did.
We don't wanna change the.
We
No,
don't wanna
no,
have,
no.
we don't wanna have that same change in this one.
Yeah, that could be a
So,
really
yeah.
bad.
And that was
Yeah.
the discussion,
Yeah.
was, and I'm sure somebody will use their imagination, but.
I don't know that needs to come up in the discussion. I wouldn't make that part of
I
the
was just-
formal.
No, I was just going to say, as we discussed it,
Let's just duck that
Yeah.
discussion.
I was gonna say, as we discussed it, we felt like the Longhorns fit the area
I
and the community.
agree. And what Robert said, there were actually two scenarios where the Longhorns came up. Yeah.
And I think some of that comes out in Gina's discussion also. She shows those numbers.
So that's the first action item, is that. The second action item are the administrative changes. And just a reminder that we'll do those in 2 stages. The first stage is pretty quick. That's the action item where I'm asking for a motion and a second on all the advancements. So I'll move through those quickly.
Just clarify, just one motion and one second on all of them.
All together, not,
Okay.
yeah, so I'll take a moment when John turns the time to me, and I'll go through all the advancements fairly rapidly and ask for a motion and a second to approve the advancements. Then we'll circle back and do more introduction and let those that are receiving an advancement have an opportunity to come to the mic. I'm going to ask that they limit their remarks to 1 minute, or we'll be here all night. We have a lot of
There's
changes.
46.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes.
I thought it was 38.
Better order breakfast, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna run the clock?
47.
I wouldn't quit.
You're gonna run
Robert,
the
you need the
gong?
clock.
Yeah, I'll get a, ooh, you can do that.
The gong.
Is that counting lateral mids as well? 'Cause we
Oh,
want-
okay.
But you're only having the people that are getting advanced.
Advanced.
Correct,
I
correct.
just have too much
Yeah.
time on my hands. I gotta keep my hands busy.
I think that's all I have. We superintendents met this week earlier in St. George and went over legislation and a little bit financial. I think we're in a good place, especially considering some of the things that we talked about at NSBA as well. Robert, anything on the financial that?
No, just there's a 6% increase in WPU, and we got to have a lot of one-time monies here and there, you know, and so it's gonna be a good year.
There's one revenue source I think that'll help our bond efforts, because we know we're cutting those close and we're not getting premium this time around. They took the economic stabilization, which is an ongoing sort of rainy day account, and any year that they don't use that economic stabilization, they allow that to be turned back to public ed as a one-time. And part of that will go toward House Bill 396, the paid professional hours. That's a positive. But $90 million of that is distributed back to districts this year in capital. And our allocation is $3.8 million. I was kind of hoping for a little more than that. But we, I've talked to Robert, we probably need to withhold just a little bit. We've got one more piece of property to buy over in Washington Terrace to square up the Roosevelt property. Glad we bought as many as we did at the time we did. And then I think the remaining $3 million, approximately 3.3, goes toward our bond projects, and just because we're going to cut it close. We'll cut it close, especially with the high school. So I think we're in a good position.
Jeff, I heard Scott talking to Pop, and he said as soon as we get done with this high school naming, then we need to jump to the junior high, is that?
Yes.
So that we can
Yes. Yeah.
Process over again.
Yeah.
just process that.
Yeah.
Will that be a similar process?
Similar process. Yeah. I think probably ought to move that. I think from Gina to someone else, maybe to the new secondary director. And I think Jan, you know, beginning that in August or September would be fine.
Will be soon enough.
It will be, yeah, cause,
That's
this,
a
this,
big process.
this would be a hard time to really pull people together. So
Well, I heard him,
maybe turn that to the new,
seems so fast.
maybe turn that to the new secondary director.
And it
And
will
then
still
the-
be Paul there.
And then the elementary director will do the
Elementary
Elementary
school, and I
school.
think that one probably could wait until late fall, early winter, to begin
Yeah.
that process to name that school.
Thank you for that information.
Okay, my guess is we're gonna have a full house. Alan's already stealing chairs.
Checked out mine already, these will be going here.
So I saw somewhere around here, same thing off of the.
Oh, are they?
Already? We just put books on first, so we can save a couple seats.
Oh,
Yeah.
We should have sold tickets and put it on the capital budget.
There you